What's up, guys? Today we're playing Epic 7 and we have a summoning video for you today. I've been saving my elemental summons for quite a long time and we have a whole bunch of them to use. I'm feeling lucky that we're going to get some great heroes and we're going to talk about how we might utilize them in today's meta and even how you're going to build them, so stay tuned for that. Thank you guys for all your support. I post videos all the time, so hit that subscribe button and stay up to date on all of the future content. For right now, let's go in. We're going to summon a bunch of heroes and we're going to see how we can utilize them in Epic 7 to have fun, because that's what it's all about. Here we go. We're going to start summoning, and the very first thing that I'm going to do is max out my hero pool. So we're going to go down to Friendship Summon, and I'm going to max this out. Now, the reason I do that is because I want to have all of these heroes go into the storage unit. When you're doing any kind of summon, you have this storage space, and it's free. Epic 7 does not want you to stop summoning. They want you to keep going forever and pull out that credit card and keep going until you get exactly what you want. So they have this unlimited storage space, and as you can see, I have hundreds and hundreds of heroes in here. What we really like is that we can leave them sort of forever without expiration. I can pull them out if I want to promote a Moonlight hero, or I can even go in and get them in order to do something like imprints, or maybe I didn't even build them, right? And now I want to build them and they're here waiting for me. One thing I really like is that you can hit transmute, and let's get rid of Rima. He's awful. But you can hit transmute and you can transmute them right from here. So now we make sure that we have a lot of our silver stones that we can utilize in the shops as well. But let's go ahead. We're going to summon and see exactly what we get. We'll kind of just, I guess, just go in counterclockwise, starting with ice, and we'll start with the normal summons as well. So let's hope that we get some shine today. I'm feeling good about it. I was feeling good about it. Not so much now. Lena has not been used for a long time. She was an excellent farmer, but of course we don't farm in the same way that we used to farm, right? We're no longer dog walking. Now we have the mileage that we get from penguins, and so that's what you should really be utilizing. Take in your heroes, get them to Friendship 10, and utilize them for the mileage. Jenya, not really. They came out with Shepherd Jenya. I haven't really heard anyone even using her. I don't use her. I finished the SC and then just called it good. It's I don't know. It's pretty difficult. 4-star hero. Here we go. Furious. Okay, not as good as he used to be. We don't use him in a ton of content anymore. He is still excellent in Wyvern if you go ahead and pull him into a team using Mui, or if you want to go in and pull him using General Purges, that team still works. A lot of people now are doing one-shot teams, so it's not as prevalent as before. Montmorency, one of my very favorites. You've seen mine, and she works on just basic gear. I think I still have like level 71 gear, which is super awful, but she has a specialty change, one of the best healers in the game. She can almost heal you on every single turn, constantly remove debuffs, and she's super fantastic. Make sure you're building her, and she'll be on a normal Soul Weaver build. So this is going to be something like a high resistance build with defense, with HP, and then about 180 to 200 speed. Rose is good. We talked about Mui. We talked about going into Wyvern. So Rose, premier tank into Wyvern. Also, you can use her in Expedition. So really, really nice here. Definitely one of the coolest character designs, and she has an amazing skin. So I am going to build my Rose up a little bit better and take her into Wyvern, because now I'm using Sinful Angelica into Cades, so that will be a future update. Crozet, not really used. He's imprint for Troublemaker Crozet. He, once upon a time, was pretty good, but it really doesn't bring anything to the meta that we need, right? He has a 75% chance to provoke, and it's only every 4 turns, which isn't amazing. He also grants the barrier when 50% or less, but you really aren't going to use this a ton. He can be used again, just like Rose into Wyvern, but that's about it. He's not going to be meta in PvP, and the debuffs that he has aren't particularly useful because you can't really rely on them. So while he is cool, he's not as cool as Troublemaker Crozet, which is one of my favorite heroes in the game aesthetically. He's still a really good hero to use if you want to build him for that Wyvern team. Can we get a 5-star? No 5-star. Okay, that's okay. Dominal, you know what? She's interesting because she has this passive here. So figure out a way to use Dominal and then go and conquer the meta, but she's not really super used. She has this Reflect, which is really, really cool because you can bait green heroes into hitting her really, really hard, and then they kill themselves, but it's really just a meme build. People aren't really using her in meta. You might see some videos or something out there where they're kind of finding ways to utilize her, but I don't think she's going to be that game-changing hero that you really want in any really content that we have, right? We have Terranol Royal Guard, who also does this Reflect, and as you can see, he's just not used in the same way. Furious again, Terranol Royal Guard, we just talked about him. He has Reflect here. Reflect damage can't be higher than the caster's max health. Why would that care? Because obviously he's just going to destroy them anyway. Like if I hit you for 20k and you reflect back, what is this? 40%, 50%? If I reflect back 10% and I only have 10k, what do I care if I reflect back 20k? If you're dead, you're dead. I guess this is because it will ruin the mechanic for Arius, but if you're dead, you're dead, right? Meme build, I wouldn't do it. Hopefully he gets a specialty change in the future, but not a hero that you're really going to use. Still no 5-stars. Okay. Crozet again. Thanks for coming. Thanks for playing with us. But we're gonna see. We're gonna get a 5. I was feeling lucky. What in the world? Dominal again. Give us something new at least. We're getting lots of shines though. That's good, right? Not as many 3-star heroes. Maybe that was my luck. Like, you're gonna get lots of 4-star heroes. Not the luck that I want. Zerato, not used. I don't even remember what he does. He's imprint for Champ Zerato. There's really no content you can bring him into. That's unfortunate. Also, not as cool as Champ Zerato, right? So, Mui, I'm gonna build one. He is fantastic into Wyvern, and here's why. He will do a counter attack on his passive ability, and I believe you have to have all of your heroes Ice Elemental. There we go. So he's going to increase the amount of combat readiness they receive. He's also going to constantly do debuffs when people are hitting that front here that's Ice. So you bring in someone like Crozet, like Angelica, like probably not Crowd because you're going to use them in PvP. Someone like Rose, all Ice team, and this is going to constantly cycle. Now, it's not as fast as some of the other teams, but because this person really has the ability to debuff heavy onto the Wyvern, they do almost no damage, making the run like almost 100%. So really fantastic. This is what I'm going to go into because I don't want to banish my straws into Wyvern. I don't use Rem, so Rem is another option that you can use as well, and that way you're able to build a team that's fast while also not sacrificing for PvP. Aether, Aether, man, they're awful. Awful. Let's go in. These are guaranteed shine, so let's see them. 5-star right here, right now. I hope it's something good. It has to be something good. Not Shu. Don't give me Shu. Well, I guess you get more of the same. Dominal again. That's disappointing. One more. Let's get it going. Do not give me Shu. That's all I'm asking for. Not Shu. And I didn't get Shu. I got 2 Dominals. All right. Ice. Ice, you suck, Ice. Here we go. Starting fire, that should be good. Hatane, not used, never used. Even if he has an SC, not used. But really cool story, really cool story. Milani, you know what? I don't even remember what she does, honestly. Attack all enemies, inflict reduced speed and stigma, which can be okay. When attacked, 25% decrease damage by 50%. Okay. And 40% chance to stun for one turn. I don't see it here. I don't see why you would build her. I do like this S3. Always results in a critical hit, which is really nice. The S1 does not always result in a critical hit, so not as good here. Honestly, I don't see why you would build her. Maybe there's some content. If you're using her in something, please let me know, and I'll consider building her in the future. Butcher has an SC, in my opinion, still no good. He's never going to be meta. If you want to build him because he's a really, really cool looking hero, then feel free to do it. You might be able to bring him into some content, but I don't really want to even mess with it. Same thing with Axe. The Axe God, it's just not worth it for me to build and spend 400 runes developing them. Oh, here we go. When I can't bring them into more than one battle at a time. Now, Tenebria is really cool. Not only is she a really awesome hero, she's got, sort of a really awesome story. She has a pretty good skin if you like the schoolgirl vibe. Her S3 has a chance to decrease defense and decrease attack. She also has a decreased speed. And this makes her really good into things like the Green Expedition, which is where I use her, right? You can also use her for her S1. So a really popular build was to utilize her into Arena onto a counter set and then put people to sleep and with her S1 and also her S3. So that is sort of a meme build, but it's really fun to do if you want to. Part of the problem is you can't bring her into PvP because we're in a very ice heavy meta. She does have this sleep chance that's 100%. Is it 100? It looks like it's 85. I believe he has an exclusive equipment making it 100%. So you can utilize her in PvP for this. But, we're never going to be into a debuff heavy meta. So up to you. Awesome hero, great taglines, great skin. You can utilize her in Expedition, but not really for PvP so much. You know what you could bring her into is you could bring her into like Golem. That would probably work. Acades is Guild War hero. Guild War. What she does is she grants invincibility and reduced cooldown for one turn. So you use S3 on herself. Then that reduces her cooldown onto her S3. So you're constantly doing S2, S3, S2, S3 over and over and over again. And that makes her a really amazing hero. If you want to invest in Acades, fantastic. Utilize her number 3 EE, and that will give you effect resist also onto her S3. So now you're giving yourself effect resist every other turn. It basically stays up forever. She's hardly killable, but again, we're in an ice meta, so it's difficult to bring her into a ton of content. But build her; she's definitely worth it for Guild War. Mine, I utilized her equipment on some other heroes that I was building, but definitely I'm going to bring her back in future videos, so stay tuned. Kawana, they gave her a buff. She's not amazing. What she does here is she dispels 2 debuffs and a stun, but here's the problem. You have to have a fire team. So not everyone is running fire team. It's been ice meta forever. Ever since Seaside Bologna, ice meta. Now she does grant skill nullifier again to fire heroes. And I think she has bleeds. Yes, there we go. Bleeds, it looks like it's a 50% chance. Not amazing for a bleed. Also, bleed is one of the worst debuffs in the game, but you can utilize it into something like Hall of Trials, so keep that in mind. Really, both versions of Kawana, not super useful. They gave her a buff. Azalea, not used. Not used. I think no one even wants to use her, honestly. Maybe a future specialty change. Now, Judith is interesting. What she does is she increases combat readiness of everyone by 30%, and she's super fast. She's not as fast as she used to be because now we have a lot of heroes that are in the Kayron range, 125. But I think she's like 119 or 122 base speed, which used to make her a good opener, not a great opener anymore. One thing about Judith was that she can utilize the artifact to give the person with the highest attack an attack buff. So if you're going to use her for that. But she fell off super, super hard because people just don't utilize her for an opener anymore, and she's not good enough to be brought in for any other purpose. 4-star hero, Maya, not used. Not used at all. If you use Maya, please let me know. I just don't see any way you can utilize Maya in today's meta, right? Not only are we in ice meta, but she doesn't bring anything to the table. Now Surin is interesting because she has I guess you can't see it here. Oh, here we do. She has a 14 speed imprint. Now it's only to 2 people, so not as good as Vildred on his 12 speed, not even as good as Sid for his 8 speed or Watcher Shuri on his 10 speed, because those affect the whole team. But for speed imprint, some people might decide to use her. And again, she's going to be a bleed hero. So if you're in Hall of Trials, you have to build a thief. Bleed is affected. Then here we go. Bleeding and bleeding again. Also decrease attack. So if you want to build her for that purpose, then go ahead. She's not going to be meta, but you know what you really could use her for? Automation Tower. You know, when we get to like exploding bleed, exploding the fire debuffs, man, she's going to be fantastic. Also, eye patch, amazing, right? Super fun there. I always wanted to build Surin. I just don't have a reason to. Maybe I'm just going to do it for the meme value. It'll be fun. Why not? I have so many heroes now. It's like, doesn't even matter. Here we go. We're going to get some 5 stars. What do I need here? Elagos might be okay. I don't have him. I mean, that's the only reason. Do I even need Imprints? I don't think so. Another Acades. She's amazing. We need to bring her out. I took her gear and put it on Destina, which, you know, I'm not a huge fan of. Okay, here we go. Who are we going to get? Lidica. Lidicka's super fast. That's about it. So you could only gear her up to like 15 speed and she'll be 300. She's a very fast hero, and she's for control, right? So decrease buff duration by 1 turn, which means that nobody can hide behind a immunity set. The next thing is that she'll decrease combat readiness and speed for 2 turns, which is going to put them way back, way back, and grants her self skill nullifier, which doesn't really matter. It's not for the whole team, or she might be a little bit more useful. 100% chance to reduce hit and make them unhealable, which is amazing in PvP. But what she really needs is the ability to take a second turn. That way you can do a lot of damage and control on that first turn. Onto this here, we're going to decrease combat readiness, which is okay. Ignore effect resist is pretty good, but you're going to build her really high effect resist anyway for the S3, so it really doesn't matter there, and it doesn't matter onto her imprint. She doesn't have a speed imprint, so it's not someone that you're really going to utilize into a cleave setting. What you're going to do is you're going to bring her into an aggro, debuff heavy team to control. Oh, back to back. Nice. Ravi, not just an imprint. You can actually use Ravi. Frida Wolf does the same voice as APOC Ravi. She also does the voice of Moonlight Bologna. and the bow girl, I forget her name. She has a specially changed dark unit. It'll come to me. Really, Ravi is nice. She's a really good bruiser hero to bring into your RTA. People don't know what to do against her as long as you can pick her on your one of your last picks. That way she doesn't get countered by something like Shu, right? So if you pick Shu, you can pick Ravi too, and that will work out just fine. What I really like about her is that she has a 75% chance to stun, but also if they get stunned, 100% combat readiness decrease, which is really great. And she does a lot of damage because of this penetrate. One problem with Ravi is that she's a fighting spirit hero, which makes her difficult to use because you can't S3 on turn one. So what you're going to typically do is you're going to let her get hit. So we see attack and effectiveness. So you build her something like 19, 20k HP, like 1500 defense, like 3000 onto attack, then put the rest into crit and into crit damage. If you can get some effectiveness, it'll be good, but she stacks 5 times. So what is that? 75%. So if you get to 75 effectiveness with 5 stacks, you're pretty much going to land this on everyone by the time she gets hit a few times, which is really good. She also has a chance to stun on her S1, so she lends herself well to counter build, and this does a ton of damage. Ravi, APOC Ravi, that Soulburn on her S1 is really, really great. Now, I wish it was 10 souls, but that might be a little overpowered for how strong that she is. Her imprint, not amazing. If you want to, help to lower the requirements of building her, give her that self imprint. I recommend Ravi. I think that she is a fantastic hero. But problem again is that now we're in the ice meta, right? Always been an ice meta. Helga, one of my favorite heroes. I didn't expect to like her, but I built her to use into Water Expedition. I also use her into Light Expedition, and she works really well here. She doesn't need a ton of skills or stats. I use mine on free gear, something like 180 speed, then go into crit damage, attack, give her some effectiveness, and she's going to work out just fine. She does an effectiveness buff and also an attack buff for your whole team, which works out, and she does defense break, which is really, really good because it's 2 turns. Now on Orte, people built her, but honestly, I don't understand why. She does penetration under S3, but she doesn't have the stats that you would use her to really go in and one shot and then be able to survive again. When she is max HP, she gets herself more crit and crit damage. Okay. After attacking, if the caster is perception and when the enemy is not a boss monster, increases attack of the caster. Okay. But again, you're not really going to build yourself up to like a 4 or a 5-star level, even with these things. Now, she can do this attack every turn, which maybe makes her do pretty good, but you can't use her on something like a defense because we have Rwana, and I don't see why you would bring her into arena offense. This does not equate to expedition because she's taking too many turns, and it doesn't equate into a Banshee team because she doesn't bring anything that's going to help you defeat Banshee. Let me know if you guys are using her for anything, but I honestly I don't see it. Clurry, Falconer Clurry, actually is kind of an amazing hero. I use her in a Dark Expedition. You can also use her into Water Expedition. She has a 2-turn defense break with a non-skill attack on her S3. So you can soul burn it, and that would ignore effect resist. When you're going against something like a Remnant Violet, who has a really good buff that they put on themselves, you can remove it first turn and then just kill him. Something like SC Airwell, remove it, kill a team, that makes her good, right? You can build her pretty fast, 250, 260, no problem, and still give her decent stats. She also will increase combat readiness on your other heroes and heal them every time she takes a turn, which means that she cycles fast and she can be an off healer into a bruiser meta, which is really good. I use her sometimes to control things. You can use her to control like a Bloodblade Karen or even something like a Kayron because she's going to be able to remove those debuffs and provoke. I forgot to provoke on her S3. She's fallen off the meta because there's just so many heroes out now. But I build her. I use her on occasion, but I typically only use her for PvE. Even though you could bring her into PvP, that's what I use her for. We get a spark. Let's see what we got here. This one's going to be Earth. Earth 5-star. No. Rin. I don't see it. I really don't. She grants 2 random buffs for 3 turns, which is great. These are actually really amazing buffs, right? And she grants it to all allies. But everyone has a strip, or you bring a strip. I think that she's a great Soul Weaver for general gameplay, just like someone like Montmorency, right? She has a 75% chance to decrease defense for 2 turns, which is really good. And she has a chance to remove a buff on the target and increase combat radiance by 15%. General gameplay, something into RTA, bruiser meta, she works fantastic. These are really good buffs that she brings, but she lacks debuff removal, right? Isn't that right? She doesn't remove debuffs, doesn't remove any debuffs. So when you're going into a team, you know, everyone has debuffs now, everyone has strips. There's a ton of counters for her. Use her if you really love her. A lot like general heroes otherwise, but she doesn't bring anything that other people don't have besides these buffs. 3-turn buff, man, that's amazing. Just don't bring her into Rimuru, because that would be hilarious for you to get all of these copied. That would be really funny. She might be worth using now that I think about it. It might be something fun to do. Just general gameplay. Bring her in, keep your team alive, and keep them buffed. I think I might try it. I think I might. Charles. You know, a lot of you probably have like PTSD from Charles. When the game first came out, he was the very first. He's like Green Shoe, right? Green Shoe. He has an attack buff onto all the allies, which makes him good into Banshee if you need him to one-shot Banshee. He also has this that dispels all buffs from the target and increases damage number of buffs granted to the caster. But this is really the reason right here. When you attack with his S1, he has a chance to proc the S2. And so, you know, people, man, PTSD from Charles getting smashed basically to death. Double percent chance when they're buffed, and he has an exclusive equipment, which helps us as well. So he's an interesting hero to use. If you like that kind of gameplay, if you like the Shoe gameplay, he's basically Green Shoe. He does not hit as hard because he doesn't have penetration built into his kit. So make sure you put him onto a pen set, and I think that he'll be good. Now, Closer Charles, they did really dirty. He has kind of a he has an animation that you either love or you hate. Lika, Lilka. I saw people building her the other day, and I was pretty surprised. 100% chance to decrease attack and speed when the target is ice elemental. Increase everyone's speed. Increase attack of the caster and the ally except with the highest attack except for the caster and combat readiness. People are bringing her into RTA, and this is what they're doing. They're coming in, they're using her for the debuff, but really they're using her to cycle their other heroes, right? So I found this to be interesting. I didn't expect it. I didn't expect her to be used at all. She's kind of a cool build, If this is kind of you, if this is your aggro style and you want to use her to turn cycle, then I think that she's very interesting every 3 turns to do this. Maybe what you do is you bring her out, you cripple the enemy on that very first turn, and now they can't recover, right? Pretty interesting there. I have not built her myself, and I don't see how she's useful outside of that RTA, but pretty interesting. Armin. You know what? They buffed Armin. It's a girl. Armin's a girl. Um, and she is kind of fun. She's kind of fun to use. Here's what she does. She decreases or dispels 1 debuff from all allies, gives them defense, and it gives them barrier. She's a defense-based hero, so you can build her very, very tanky, and she works really well. Onto her S1, when you use it on her turn, when it is not the caster's turn, AoE attack with a chance to stun. That's really awesome. And she has, I think it's a 30% chance to counterattack when she is hit. When an ally, except for the caster, is attacked by a single target, decrease that damage suffered. People are using her similar to like a Bellion, right? She is similar to like a Bellion meets Politis. So you can come in, you can control, you can stun. I had shown videos in the past where she's like the #1 damage dealer on the enemy team. The problem here is that she's heavily countered by Rowana. So if you're going to use Armin, make sure there's no Rowana. Man, she works really well though. You can build her really awesome damage. She counters like every attack. Put her on Elbrus and bring her into a standard, or bring her into a really heavy team that you're using on a bruiser build. I like her because now as well you can use those items that were defense based and do damage, like defense, crit damage, and also with effectiveness. So that will be good. Ains, not used, never used, not even cool. Pearl Horizon has a specialty change. People used her for like a minute, and that was it. She's a debuff type hero. They're not 100% debuff, so she's not reliable. She's not particularly fast, so there's really no reason to bring her over other debuff teams. But she could find a way to sneak into your lineup if that's the kind of playstyle that you have. Honestly, I didn't even build her. I looked at her. She has a lot of sleep in her kit, but it just didn't. It's not appealing to me because it seems too casino to RNG. Purgus, he was good for like a minute as well. They tried to buff him into this counter attacking similar to Armin, but I don't think it ever really took off. Um, He basically is just like Armin, except that he's used it on the caster's max health instead of max defense. Some people have used him. Honestly, I don't see it. I don't see it myself because it's just like a worse version of Armin. If you're gonna bring that type of hero into your game, you need to have a way either to control, to do a heavy amount of damage, or punish the enemy in some way. We don't have a ton of fire meta right now. There is some in Cleave, but not really a ton of fire meta after the Hwa Young nerf. And so maybe this is not something that you really want to build. Sid, one of the best thieves in the whole game. Speed imprint here, 10 speed to the whole team, which is really good for aggro and really good for cleave. But here's what really makes Sid special. He has elemental advantage on his S3 and soul burn. He has an exclusive equipment to make this hit every single time, even when they're not like debuffed or whatever, or not granted additional speed. So you're always elemental advantaged every hero, which means that you have more damage, more crit, less chance to miss. It's amazing. Plus the speed imprint, so good. Then if he kills a hero, he gets another turn, right? So you go on to, yes, here it is, extra turn. You soul burn, you defeat someone, you get another turn. Then you come in and do an S1. Now the S1 has a chance to decrease defense. If you put him onto something like a Wind Rider, then that extra turn is going to hit super hard. You can also put him onto an artifact where he'll get an extra attack with his S1. So now you hit somebody, you kill them, your S1 goes, you defense break, then you S1 again, you wipe them out too. Really, really good. If you've seen some of my Dagger Sakar videos, I use Sid quite a lot to defeat those, especially in Expedition. He worked really well. A little bit of RNG based there, because you just don't know how many times your Dust Devil is going to proc to hit that extra turn. Or if you're using Wind Rider, that sometimes you're not doing enough damage on that S1 to kill because it's not Soulburn S1, similar to Giselle. Lots is not used. Not anymore. He was used for like a minute as well. My mouse. My mouse is gone. So onto his S2. He increases combat readiness by 100%. So this means that he's really good in something like a water expedition because now they decrease by 100%, you increase by 100%, you break him right out of it, and he does pretty decent healing as well. Back in the day, what we used him for is double Lot's cleave into Guild Wars. So you would take something like Sirmia, lift with your auxiliary lots, kill somebody, lots goes next, you kill somebody else, and now it's 3 versus 1, which is really great. So that's something that you can look forward to if you want to. The problem with lots is his base speed is super, super low, so not amazing for that base speed. Not really used for that reason. Now we have Flynn, now we have Ahmed, who basically fits the same role, and has a better base speed or brings other things to the kit that are going to be better. So not as used as before. I have him 6-starred, which means that I was using him for Expedition, but it's really forcing, the issue, right? You build him, you can use him into your world boss, and now you have a hero that you can use in Expedition. I have no other reason. Okay, Zahak. Yes. This is the best pull. I have him, unfortunately. Zahak. Man, he's super amazing. Super amazing. What he does is he gets 50% crit chance, 50% chance to hit. If you put him onto an artifact that gives him 20% more chance to hit, you'll hit every hero in the game. He hits super hard, and does injuries, which doesn't usually matter because we're using him to one-shot things like Aiden, right? They also changed him recently, maybe 3 or 4 months ago, where he dispels these 2 buffs. He has an exclusive equipment that gives him attack buff on himself and also on that target. So you can utilize him as an opener if there's not anything that's going to be too fast, but you can also utilize him as second in an aggro or a cleave setting. So what you'll see from me is I'll use Zeo. So Hawk will go next. He'll boost someone up. Boom, boom. And I try and kill 2, 3 heroes on that very first turn. His S1, ton of damage onto the Soul Burn, so keep that in mind as well. I do like him for this. I really want to have the imprints, so that's what I'm going to use him for. I run him at something like 260 speed, and he works out really well. And wow, we're down to our very last summon. Let's see it. It's the light hero. Now you get this from doing some of the side story or challenge missions. The last one we had, I think, was fire, so that's where I got this. So let's see. Let's hope. Can I get at least a spark? Can I get something? You get. I get nothing. This is how this goes, right? This is how this goes. Gloomy Rain. Not amazing. Not amazing. She needs a specialty change. Where are the Banshee specialty chains at? She's immune to stun and sleep, which is really great. And she transfers her debuffs inflicted on the caster and dispels all debuffs from the caster. So if you're going into a debuff heavy team, like let's say you go into a Dizzy, you can bring Gloomy Rain. She does her S3. Now she applies all those debuffs back to the enemy. So not only does she dispel the debuffs off of you, and she's going to remove immunity from the other team, now she's going to apply them all to their team, which is kind of fun. She's not widely used, which means that no one knows what she does, so you can catch people off guard if you build Gloomy Rain. I would really, really like to see a specialty change for her and the other Banshees. Smilegate, where are you at? Bring the specialty change for the Banshees. Come on, bro. It would be fantastic. I would use her if they improved her skills a little bit and gave her some of that more that specialty change that we're really looking for, right? I think that would work out really well. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this video. Give me a like if you enjoyed this content so other people just like you can find it as well. It'll be a little while before we build up enough elemental summons to come back and do some more. I'm disappointed. I felt lucky, but I feel like we could have gotten some more 5 stars, and that is okay. Until next time, happy hunting and good luck on your battles.